this video, we will present you with a story that provides a terrifying warning about how games and virtual communities can become something real and dangerous. It also highlights the importance of taking online threats seriously, even if they initially seem like a joke. Enjoy, everyone, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. At 3:30 p.m. on July 27, 2019, a 22-year-old college student named Nicole logged onto her gaming computer in her bedroom in North Carolina. Nicole had spent the morning and early afternoon studying, but now she could finally relax and play her favorite video game, Perfect World, an online multiplayer combat game inspired by Chinese mythology. Perfect World was a niche game, so not many people played it, but Nicole loved it and had been hooked on it for years. Over time, she had met about a dozen other players from around the world who shared her passion for the game. Together, they formed a virtual community and used a messaging app called Discord to communicate outside of the game. On this particular day, Nicole loaded up Perfect World and opened her Discord chat. She noticed that several of her friends were already online, discussing a user named Maynus. Maynus was known to be a huge troll, someone who said and did offensive things just to get reactions. He had been kicked out of the Discord server and the game multiple times in the past, but he always managed to plead his way back in. This time, however, his trolling felt different. Maynus had been talking about a 4-step plan that he claimed would revolutionize his life and set him up for massive success. The plan sounded outrageous and impossible, even by Maynus's standards. The Discord server was buzzing with disbelief, and Nicole agreed. This had to be another one of his trolling attempts. She rolled her eyes, minimized the Discord chat, and focused on playing Perfect World. After a while, Nicole noticed a flood of new notifications on Discord. She opened the chat and saw that Maynus had sent a palm picture, claiming to have completed the first step of his plan. The image was so specific and bizarre that everyone was convinced it had to be fake. Nicole thought maybe Maynus had pulled the image from a website or used AI to create it. She reverse-searched the image but found nothing, which made her uneasy. Still, she dismissed it as another troll. An hour later, Maynus sent a second picture, this time claiming to have completed the second step use of his plan. Again, the image was hyper-specific and tied directly to his plan. Nicole and the others were baffled. How was Maynus getting these images? In 2019, AI technology wasn't advanced enough to create such specific images easily, so Nicole wondered if Maynus had pulled them from an obscure website. She reverse-searched the second image but found nothing again. This made her question whether Maynus might actually be serious. The Discord server was now divided. Half the members believed Maynus was still trolling, while the other half feared he might be carrying out his plan. The plan, if real, was illegal and dangerous. One member even contacted their local police, but without Maynus's real name or location, the police couldn't do anything. The dispatcher dismissed it as an internet hoax. Nicole and a few other members decided to investigate Maynus themselves. They combed through the Discord chat logs and discovered that Maynus had once revealed his real first name, Maynus. They also noticed that he always used Eastern Standard Time when discussing his schedule, suggesting he lived in the Eastern Time Zone, which includes parts of the US, Canada, and Central South America. Still, this was too broad to pinpoint his location. One member managed to track Menace's double asterisk IP address to Toronto, Canada. However, they knew IP addresses could be masked using VPNs, so this wasn't definitive. Just as they were discussing whether to contact the Toronto police, Menace sent a third picture, claiming to have completed the third step of his plan. This image was even more terrifying, and Nicole and the others were now convinced that Menace might actually be serious. The Discord server begged Menace to come clean, but he doubled down, insisting his plan was real. He announced that he would complete the final step boss in 30 minutes. Despite their pleas, Menace refused to stop. True to his word, 30 minutes later, he sent a fourth picture, claiming his plan was complete. The next day, someone from the Discord server contacted the Toronto police. Officers arrived at Menace's home in a small town north of Toronto. When they knocked on the door, Menace answered calmly and invited them inside. The police were unsure what to expect. Was this a terrible crime or an elaborate joke? As they entered the house and made their way upstairs, they froze. Menace had not been trolling. The pictures were real. He had carried out his four-step plan. For the past 4 years, Menace had been living a double life. To his friends and family, he was a college student, but in reality, he had been meticulously planning and executing something far darker. The police discovered the shocking truth. Menace had completed his plan, and the consequences were devastating. Our key themes: the blurring of reality and fantasy in online gaming communities, the dangers of trolling, and how it can escalate into real-life consequences, the power of online communities to investigate and uncover the truth, the limitations of law enforcement in dealing with internet-based threats. This story serves as a chilling reminder of how the virtual world can sometimes spill over into reality with terrifying results.
The Gas Station Encounter. I used to work the night shift at a gas station convenience store off a quiet stretch of highway. I say used to, because after what happened to me a few months ago, I won't work a night shift again. It's a small station, the kind that barely gets any business once it gets late. Most of my shift was spent restocking shelves, wiping down counters, and occasionally ringing up a trucker or traveler passing through. I remember the whole thing vividly. It was just past 2:30 in the morning. By then even the truckers had mostly dried up, and I was left with basically nothing to do. I scrolled mindlessly on my phone, trying to kill some time. At one point, I stepped outside for some air, rubbing my hands together against the cold. I exhaled a few times, watching my breath disappear in the cold. The parking lot was empty, just the pumps, the road, and the dark stretch of trees beyond. The neon sign flickered faintly, and I remember it being hazy out, like you could literally see the moisture in the air. Even with the highway not too far off, it was pretty silent out there. Right as I was about to walk back toward the store, I noticed something move out of the corner of my eye. I whipped my head around and realized there was a person standing behind one of the pumps. How had I not noticed him earlier? He was wearing a dark red hoodie with the hood up and had both hands shoved in his pockets. There wasn't a car in sight, so he obviously wasn't fueling up. The only thing was, he didn't seem to be heading toward the store either. He was just standing there, half-turned toward the store, like he was watching me. At first I figured maybe he was waiting for someone, but something about the way he moved rubbed me the wrong way. He was kind of shuffling about in this circular pattern. I entered the store but made sure to keep an eye on him through the glass. I kept track of him while pretending not to, hoping someone would drive up and pick him up or something. But after a few minutes he started walking toward the door, slow at first, then suddenly pushing inside like he made up his mind all at once. He walked up to the counter but didn't say anything right away, just stared at me like he was sizing me up. Then, in a rushed, almost rehearsed way, he muttered that his car had broken down just before the pumps. He said he needed a jump or maybe just a little gas to get to the next town. I was literally shocked. He wasn't even trying to make his story believable. Like I couldn't believe he actually expected me to buy his BS story. I offered to call a tow truck instead. No, he said too quickly, shaking his head. He just needed a flashlight, maybe some help checking under the hood. Something was definitely off. That much was true. The way he spoke, the way he watched my reaction, it felt like a test. To be fair, though, people walking into gas stations at that hour are usually a little strange, and I started wondering whether he actually needed help and was just an odd person or on something. I asked him where his car was parked, and he told me it was just beyond the highway entrance. I was obviously skeptical, but then he pointed at the monitor behind me. I turned to look at the screen, and to my surprise, there actually was a car parked out there. I thought to myself, oh crap, maybe this guy really does need help. And that's when it hit me. I had literally just been outside, and I would have remembered a car parked out there. I glanced back at the monitor and saw the slightest movement near the car's back bumper. Someone was crouching just out of view. A cold wave of dread hit me. I forced a casual smile and agreed to help the guy, but not before telling him I needed to grab my phone from the back office. I turned slowly, not wanting to spook him, but the second I was out of his direct sight, I slammed my hand onto the emergency panic button under the counter. The alarm went off instantly, screeching through the store. I expected him to attack me, but what he did instead was even more unsettling. His nervous energy disappeared. No more fake urgency, no more shifting from foot to foot. He actually relaxed. His whole body language shifted, and then he smiled. Not a panicked smile, not an embarrassed one either. A slow, knowing grin, like he had all the time in the world, like this was amusing to him. I was in shock. I didn't even have time to get physical with him. In one fluid motion, he turned and bolted. I ran to the monitors just in time to see both of them take off, not toward the car, but into the woods behind the station. The car just sat there, engine off, headlights off, no one inside. By the time the police arrived, it was exactly as I saw it. The car was still there, but the men were gone. No footprints leading away, no sign of them anywhere. And then one of the officers pointed something out, something I hadn't noticed before. The front passenger door was open. There had been a third person inside the whole time. The police took my statement down, and I turned over the surveillance footage. And that was that. A few days later, they followed up with me. They had the car towed and ran the plates. Turned out it had been reported stolen nearly a week earlier, over 100 miles away. No one had come forward to claim it. No reports of missing persons. No other crimes linked to it. Just an abandoned vehicle in the middle of nowhere with no explanation. That was months ago, and still nothing. I don't know why convenience stores are such popular targets, but I can say for sure that I will never work another night shift again.